Welcome to Brand You.
The ultimate personal branding podcast.
I'm Kaz Grant.
And I'm Toby Lee.
Together, we're here to help demystify personal branding
and to make it accessible and effective for everyone.
Follow along as we guide you through creating your own personal branding journeys.
So, let's get started.
Let's brand you. Hi everybody and welcome to Brand You. Last week's episode we were talking about how to tell if your personal brand is working or not. And in this week's episode we're moving on to how being you is your superpower with personal branding.
So I'm really excited for this episode because if there's anything I do as a photographer, it's trying to capture that you know, what it is that makes you different to anyone else. And I guess exactly the same with your work and quirk and finding your quirk. And it's absolutely true. You know, you are your superpower. If you can embrace what makes you unique and celebrate that, personal branding is actually very simple, very easy, you know, but it is breaking down those barriers of allowing yourself to do that, knowing what to talk about and what can just be kept to yourself. It's not about just spilling your guts out in your life to everyone else, because that's not going to create the impression we want. But it does, however, work wonders for us with our business in terms of building trust, making people realize that we're human at the end of the day.
Relating, creating that relatability with other humans as well. That's being us and relating with other humans. That is the superpower, because without relating to other people, they're never going to buy into our messaging, buy into what we have to offer, have what we have to offer. They're going to go elsewhere. So we are the person in the middle of it all. But I think that's one thing with personal branding that maybe puts people off, because they don't understand themselves that much. So you then start doing all of these habits and all of these things, and the phrase chucking spaghetti at a wall hoping something sticks. I think that's it, when you just create loads of stuff and just throw it all out there. You do that because you don't understand who you are and the value that you have to share and the messaging that you want to get across and who you want to speak to. So I think go back to, if you're listening to this back at home and you've got to this point, go back to some of our previous episodes, because we talk about how to extract that kind of information out for your personal brands. But then let's look at authenticity then today, where we are. Like you said, it's so powerful that we are us. And I think one of the things that we don't think about as well is when we are us, it's like when you said it's easy, I think what you meant is like mentally easy. It's not, you're not faking anything. You're not trying to be something. You're not having to hold up this persona that you are not actually that person. It's easy because you are that way, you speak that way, you dress that way.
Well, you're not trying to be anything. You're not trying to think of things that are interesting to share, because you're embracing that if you're sharing something that is personal to you or your business, that it is going to be interesting. You're trusting it's going to be interesting to someone, and that's okay.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, audiences, whether they're online or in person, can spot inauthenticity a mile away, and there's that disconnect instantly. So in order to get in there with people, to make those connections, to form those bonds, to form those relationships, we need to be authentically sharing who we are.
Yeah, and I think it can be really tempting to look at our competitors, can't it? And sometimes go, okay, well, what are they doing as a business? You know, so I'm gonna say something similar or touch on the same topics or things. But actually, if you're not delivering that in a way that is giving your personal impression, there's something about it that just comes across as not being authentic. Like you say, like we don't buy into it. It's not going to get the engagement that it probably could or should, as if you put your own stamp on it and really shared something.
Also, you blend in with everybody. If the online space is such a noisy space and we're all competing for all of the same sort of things, then the real superpower is you being you, because you are not like anybody else. So trying to conform and be like anyone else just like it takes you back to that invisibility of not even having a personal brand in the first place. You've got one, but no one's really seeing it because you're blending in with all the others. It's like how people dress as well. Like you see lawyers and they dress a certain way and they have the certain headshots and they're wearing the grey suit and things. Does it have to be like that?
Nope.
Or could you be slightly different as a lawyer, wear a
Yeah.
different coloured suit in a different style with a different backdrop and actually smile in a photo or something?
Yeah.
You know, put your personality across to it, because that will make you stand out so much more
Yeah.
against your competition or your peers.
You've mentioned like the ultimate benefit of personal branding is we attract people to come to us.
Yeah.
And I like the analogy of, in that crowded noise of people, we're not necessarily trying to wrestle our way to the front.
Yeah.
We're actually just trying to take a step to the side and like distance ourselves from the noise, and to say, I'm over here doing my thing, putting things out, trying to reach people, and if you come back to me, then wicked.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like-
if I'm for you, I'm for you, come back.
Yeah.
If I'm not for you, there are other people that you'll resonate
Yeah.
with instead. There's enough to go around. I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy with my superpower is me.
Yeah.
I'm happy with this value that I've got to share with the right people that want to hear it.
Yeah.
That's me.
And what a colourful, wonderful place it would be, like if
Yeah.
everybody was there doing that, you know. So it's exciting to try and encourage our listeners
It is
to get
exciting.
involved.
Yeah. And like you say, with the ease of it, and I think like the mental health aspect of things as well, like, again, how hard is it to fake your way through life and to not be authentic and to not be you? And how much brain power does that take up? Especially if you're not just hiding online, you're going to be in person as well. Like, it's going to take a lot of mental effort. So actually, if you could just be you straight away, you won't reach those burnout points. You won't reach that like brick wall. You'll actually create a really great personal brand that thrives, that you enjoy doing and being a part of and creating it, and also your audience enjoys as well.
Yeah. So how do we make sure that we kind of represent ourselves as being real online, like what we're talking about here? How do we do that?
Sure. So I think it's important to look at, again, the foundation that we set up on our profiles. So are our images that we're sharing, are the cover image, the profile photo, is that representing who we are?
Yeah.
First of all, we need to get those clear, because those are the things, you know, those are the little things that people are going to see on repeat again and again and again. They're going to differentiate between you and somebody else instantly. So you want to get them right, don't you? And you know more than anybody, with being a headshot photographer and personal branding expert as well, like how important the right image portraying you is.
Yeah.
Like you showed me before some images that you've recently took of a client that, oh my gosh, like I know this person in real life as well, and like, the essence, like their essence is just in those
the best
photos.
of them, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
and really show that. So yeah, it's not about just having, say, a photo on LinkedIn that is up to date. That's great. That's a good start.
Yeah,
It's better
yeah.
than most people are doing. You know, if it actually looks like you.
Yeah.
But how can we go further with that? How can we actually like say something about you and put that forward, get that personality
Get
in
the
there?
personality across. I mean, you've taken my photos before, and we always it's hard for me not to smile, because you put a camera anywhere near me and it's like the smile goes on my face, but the smile just generally comes out anyway.
Yeah.
So to have a straight-faced photo on my profile, it was awkward, wasn't it, trying to even take it?
Yeah.
You said like the corner of my mouth was still like
Just
smiling, but I was like,
smile down, but
I'm not
yeah.
smiling, but I was, because that's just who I am.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
to try and stand in a corporate position where I'm not smiling would be so
not right to do.
not right, no. And then my audience would feel a disconnect with that.
Yeah.
And then when they meet me in person, I am this smiling person. They'd be like, hold on, you look miserable online.
Yeah.
So there's that disconnect. So your profile, first of all, look at the bio, look at how you're describing what you do to other people as well. It doesn't have to be corporate jargon on platforms. It can be your tone of voice, your messaging, you in there. And again, your about section and things like that. A lot of people just whack on like the CV talk.
Yeah.
And they're also talking about themselves in the third person. It's like,
Oh yeah.
it's your profile.
Yeah.
Sarah is you are Sarah. Yeah, who's
talking
written
it?
this? It feels weird, it feels odd. So again, getting your about section like correct. And it doesn't have to be corporate, perfectly polished, like
Buzzwords.
buzzwords. If you want to put some emojis in there, you put some emojis in there, because that's another form of communication that people, are you making a joke? Put a laughy face, put something in there that shows a bit more.
Feeling from it as well.
Yeah, you get a feeling from it. Yeah. So definitely how you set up all your profiles on all of your platforms, make sure your personality is shining through and it represents you. So then that will help then when you're then creating the content, you can just keep that going with content as well. Because again, you don't have to create the same posts as everybody else and the same thing. Create different ones, use your language in it. I've just started doing more carousels on my Instagram, for example, and they are very like text heavy, so I don't share loads, but every couple of weeks or so there's a carousel post. But in there is all my wording, how I would say it. I'm very, I have a specific way of saying things and explaining things in my language. That is on the carousels. I don't hold back. If it needs a swear word in it, I'll put a swear word in it because people know that that's me. I need to hammer home that point. A swear word's going in there, you know? It's not offensive. It's not obtrusive. It's just how I talk. And I think, again, if you're holding that back, you might be holding back on getting any messaging out because you don't want to swear. You shouldn't do. I'd love phrases in here and little sayings that I picked up before. But what's the shouldn't one? The shouldn't one is we should all over ourselves, or we shouldn't all over ourselves. So there's so much in life that we're like, should do, or shouldn't do, should do, shouldn't do. Should you or shouldn't you? Maybe not. Like, why? Where's that come from? Like an old wives' tale or an old thing that your nan said on repeat over and over? Like, where's that come from?
And even then, even if we know one person said it, we can become so fixated on, well, somebody's told me so.
Yeah.
So therefore,
I should.
That's in my head now. That is the gospel way of doing things.
Yeah, that is just how it is. I've actually been thinking about this on the way here this morning. I have a little internal dialogue with myself when I'm driving anywhere or walking anywhere, because I create so much content. I feel like I've got a constant carousel of content running through my head. I was thinking about future content and I'm going to create it soon, but it's the Christmas shoots because, you know, we're a Christmas period right now. It's festive period. How many people are like, go on, it's Christmas. Oh, it doesn't matter if you indulge, it's Christmas. But you've got to, it's Christmas. It's Christmas. It's like, how many Christmas excuses are we using? Is that like actually the law or not? No, it's something we've created to let us eat more mince pies and stuff like that, really, isn't it? So it's looking at those things, isn't it? So while we're also going down the shoulds and shouldn'ts, like I think a lot of people hold back on their personal brands as well because they don't want to share some of the challenges and some of the struggles because they don't want to look like they're struggling.
Yeah.
But actually there's power in being vulnerable as well, isn't there, and sharing that?
Yeah, definitely. I find this like I probably personally shy away from sharing too much of the challenges unless it's something that's like business related or, you know, whereas actually at the end of the day, what makes us human is that connection on things that maybe don't work and the things that we're all going through struggle wise that actually we come together on. It makes you as a brand more authentic and more trustworthy, that you do have things that you're working on and that you're not just flawless. It makes us realize you are real against a lot of the stuff that is out there that call it influencers or whoever, you know, that are trying to create that flawless perception. Obviously there's kind of like maybe certain boundaries as well to that, like, you know, some things people maybe don't need to know or certainly don't do it for the wrong reasons in terms of people going online and kind of making stuff up or anything just to kind of get attention or just to or maybe not make it up, that's not right, but people who sometimes blow a situation up to be more than it is just to get engagement and interactions from people. Like, I don't know, a lot of my Instagram feed at the moment is reels that something awful has happened and then actually it turns out it's not all, it was just to get you to watch till the end. Real vulnerability, real challenges that have happened. One thing that I quite like doing is I'll go through a challenge because I'm not a perfect human and no one is, and I'll have that challenge and I'll be in it and I'm too in it. So I don't post about it or share it until I'm maybe coming out of it or out of it. Right. Because then what I'll like to do is share about the challenge and what happened, but then shared how I got out of it. Nice. Or things I'm doing to get myself out of it. So it's about the solution and the value in sharing that.
it's not just
rather than
moaning.
here I am in a pickle.
Yeah, it's
Feel
not.
sorry for me.
I
Or,
think sometimes it can be like we're stuck in this victimhood
Yeah.
and we can't get out, and like literally victim, 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 poor me, poor me. But when you're sharing it as I went through that and this is how I got out of it, you're offering value and you did something and you showed people that they could get out of it too
Yeah.
if they're going through that. And oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were going through that, but how amazing that you got out of it. I'm going through something similar as well. I think I could probably use one of those tips.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
So it's something quite powerful like that. And also sometimes I think when we're in the depths of it, sometimes creating content about it is really challenging and really tough.
Yeah.
So
You need that level of
allow,
distance and,
allow yourself that distance to come out of it, and then share a bit
I think
about it.
that's really powerful, and I think that's great that you've shared that piece of advice, because I imagine our listeners may be tiptoeing around how much do I share and what do I share and how do I share it, particularly challenges. But I love that idea of just wait till you're out of it, and then you've got a solution to share as well. It doesn't feel so personal, like I'm sharing this because it happened to me. I'm sharing it because it happened to me, but I might be able to help you if you're in that pickle. Yeah.
And I think sometimes when we're looking at online as well and sharing and the real you and everything, it's like we have to put certain boundaries in place. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to share everything online. Well, you don't have to share everything online. Like we've still got private lives. There's still aspects of our lives that we don't need to share, don't have to share. I kind of think like what can you share that aligns with your messaging that builds up who you are, but also what would align with your audience as well, your ideal audience. So not all challenges will align with what your ideal audience might go through, but some of them might. So share the ones that might resonate with your ideal audience, but leave out some of the ones that maybe don't resonate with them. Sometimes you're not going to know if they will or not until you share them, which is fine. Again, just test it and see the engagement that it gets and go from there.
It's a bit like high profile actors or personalities when they go for interviews. They'll have a list, the host will get prompted on what they can and can't talk about. And often there will be some bits that, don't ask about this, don't talk about that. And it's because it might affect their brand if they haven't got an answer for it, or it might portray them in a certain way to be put on the spot about it, So it's kind of like, it's okay to have those, like you say, those barriers of, these are just areas I don't go to with my online presence and my content, or my, don't talk about these in person either, or...
Humans are so multifaceted. We can't share like nobody can know everything that's going on in our brains and in our entire lifetimes. Again, no one's got that much time to delve into the last 40 years of my life. Nobody's got time for that. So you're not going to be able to share everything. So it's a snapshot. But I think sometimes through sharing challenges and the vulnerabilities, it's really important to do that so that we don't look too perfect all the time, and we don't again blend in with everybody else, especially like platforms like LinkedIn and stuff. Everybody just wants to be the best and showing the best all the time, and like they're the best and they're the best business and blah 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 blah. Again, it can get the samey, and you can get a bit of tumbleweed post. You're like, oh God, here's how I made 6 figures again. Well done, you. Not going to look at it. But actually, here's how I got through this challenge. Then you're like, oh gosh, I'm going through this challenge too. Right, I need to read that. Let me go into that. So it's
even if it's something that's unexpected, like, this happened to me. No one knew about it. That can often not increase engagement, because that's not the aim of putting it out there, but that can often make people go, oh, I didn't realise that about that person. I didn't know they'd been through that.
Yeah.
But suddenly there's a human connection and want to kind of care for each other, isn't there? And like...
Yeah. Most people out there are trolls and there are horrible people online, as well as there are horrible people in person. There's just we don't live in a perfect world where all these horrible people can just go to a different country and not have to deal with us. But most of the time, most of the people out there do want to support and help and encourage and connect on deeper levels. They don't want to just connect on surface level issues. We're very nosy as human beings, and we all want to feel not broken. So by others sharing their little broken bits, it makes us feel like, oh, okay, well, I could do that as well and still be successful, even though I'm broken too.
Yeah.
Oh, but you're broken as well, and I'm broken, and we're all broken. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
So it's not just me.
Yeah.
I'm not the only broken human in the world. Maybe I could succeed a bit. Maybe I could do a bit more. That's what you want to get your audience is kind of thinking. The other buzz term that keeps getting bandied around at the moment is this imposter syndrome that isn't actually really a syndrome.
Yeah.
But we all kind of suffer with this feeling of inadequacy and not feeling good enough and feeling like we're going to be found out that we're not good enough. So this can really stop people sharing the real them online, can't it? And also stop sharing some of the challenges and vulnerabilities, because what if I do share that I had struggled with that and I wasn't good enough with that? Will people still buy from me? Will people still do business with me? Will people do, because I'm not actually good enough to do this thing and be this person? But I think, again, we're all humans and we all feel like that at different times. Even CEOs of, the biggest billion-dollar companies on earth still will have moments of that and doubt and the imposter syndrome kicking in. So it's like knowing that and just reassuring yourself that because everyone has that, like, you can still do these things too. You can be vulnerable and still be successful. You can share a little challenge that you went through in your business but still have a successful business. Like, it's still possible to do that. So I think something, again, that we've got to kind of break through. And I think imposter syndrome is potentially something that you'll naturally break through the more you personally brand and the more you put yourself out there. So you feel it at the beginning, but the more you do and the more you push yourself, the less of that you kind of feel.
Well, we sort of talked about it in our confidence episode, didn't we? Like, the more you do, the more self-confidence you get. So today's actionable step, we want you to pick a story that shares a little bit more about your personality, maybe something that you've kind of been holding back on sharing publicly that you think will resonate with your target audience. Write some content about it and share it and see what kind of interaction you get. And join us on our next episode that will be about building and optimizing your personal brand for 2025.
Follow along on Spotify as we drop an episode of the brand new podcast every week, and also follow myself and Toby online on LinkedIn. And we've also got the brand new LinkedIn community group as well. So feel free to follow along in that group and ask us any burning questions you have about personal branding as well.
Here's to branding you.